$49.96. This is our best radio offer. Get your risk-free 60-day trial of Proactive plus 2 free extras. Go to getproactive.com or call 1-800-752-4996. That's 1-800-752-4996.
Mike Horn.
I really like that rockin' intro bumper for Mike Horn. I got to tell you, I'm impressed. We're back with more Slow Living Radio, and what an intro that is.
Some of the old KBBQ jingles.
Is that right?
Yeah. The Mike Horn jingle from KBBQ.
Very nice.
I like it. I think can we steal that?
Sure.
Occasionally?
Yeah.
Well, it says Mike Horn every time. I like that.
Well, that's okay.
It's okay. It's a little bit of a tribute to Michael Horn, founder, president of CRN.
We celebrate him every day anyway. So.
That's right. And speaking of which, a little celebration here. We're going to talk about CRN and your brilliant idea to start this cable radio network.
We're going to leave KBBQ?
No. We can go to stay with KBBQ. I think that's great. You like KBBQ?
No. This is great, but that was a fun time.
He hasn't finished. He hasn't completed the.
We've got to complete that because I got to tell you, at KBBQ, the passage of time is very important.
Well, from KBBQ, then the people from K-Rock started coming in. And I kind of hung around and talked to the news director, and then I found out that they wanted to maybe keep me to do overnight news, and I could do a weekend shift. So I became one of the first of the new jocks on K-Rock. I did weekends, and I did overnight news for Steve Sands. Charlie Tuna was there, Sam Riddle, Steve Lundy.
Hey, those were the legendary days.
The Woodchopper was there. He'd go, Woodchopper! And he'd hit the console. Woodchopper! It's a Woodchopper! He would do all that kind of stuff.
I like that. That's like thunderous there.
Yeah, he would just pound away at things. He actually hit everything so hard one night that he knocked the radio station off the air right during the client party when people were coming out and learning about the new station.
No kidding.
They turned their radios on. You could hear the carrier, but no audio because he pounded so hard he knocked one of the modules out of the control board.
Oh, my God. How do you like that?
That's hysterical.
It's the first K-Rock. It's kind of like one of those WKRP starters.
Yeah, look, K-Rock was a legendary station, too. I listen to K-Rock all the time.
And they went bankrupt and started not paying their checks, and I was the overnight news guy. I was the first guy to get laid off, so I never had a check bounce. They brought me back when they got the FM station. I worked there for a while with a guy named Leave Baby Sims, who would be playing music and go, yeah, that's Linda Ronstadt, and I was with her one time when we were going to get married, and then she said she wouldn't get married, and he could tell this whole story, and I says, wow, you were with Linda Ronstadt? He goes, no, I made the whole thing up. That was his shtick on the air. He'd make stuff up. Yeah, he'd just sit there and lie to everybody. It was a great jock, Leave Baby Sims.
Lie to me.
And then from there I went to KFI radio.
Yeah,
because the guys from KBBQ who did country music, Bob Kingsley, the American Country Countdown, he went to do overnight country and brought me in as the music director. So I was doing the music for him during the day, and then he and Matt Curtis would do the country music overnight on KFI.
Very
nice. Then they dumped that, and then I stayed there, became assistant program director, and worked with Loman and Barkley and Sweet Dick Whittington and all those good people. It was great.
Legendary folks.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. What would Loman and Barkley like to work with?
Oh, they're my favorites to this day.
Yeah.
Rest their souls. Al and Roger were just the greatest.
They were great.
True radio, because they created the stuff in your mind. You saw their cast of characters. It was
real theater of the mind.
It was totally,
truly as it should be.
Totally was great.
Yeah. So who are some of the other memorables there?
Oh, there was Paul Compton, who was Frank Sinatra's favorite DJ.
Really?
Yeah, he'd go, I'm PC, primarily in the PM, playing the music. And the guy was like as thin as a rail. His my fingers about as big as his wrist was. He was like a chain smoker. You could have blown at him and knocked him over. But he
had this velvet voice. Great pipes.
Great pipes.
Yeah, great pipes. Yeah.
You know, and he used to play music. He goes, music is like an orgasm. It takes you up and brings you down. And you got to reach out and grab him. And he'd go crazy. And he'd go like, it was a little crazy.
Very nice.
Yeah. So and they did two-man teams there. They did two-man teams. They had Loman and Barkley and Hudson and Landry. And then I worked with Sweet Dick Whittington. And it was good. And then I went to KRLA after that.
KRLA.
With Art LeBeau playing the oldies. And I was Mike the Newsman, where I was doing newscasts. It had to be quickie news, and I got chastised one time by Art because he says, Mike, I've been listening to your newscasts, and I usually shave my face during a newscast, and I usually shave half my face, but lately I've been able to shave my whole face. So cut the newscast
So,
down.
yeah, so in other words, he's cutting you short.
He was timing me by how long it took him to shave his face.
So there's no program or master clocks here. This was
So
all
you
in-
were
Art
fluffing
Lebovish, yeah.
out the new
Nice.
show a little, give
I
you a
was
little
adding
creative.
a few stories.
Yeah, why not?
Because there
Why
were
not?
good stories you had to tell the people about
Yeah,
stuff.
no, you don't want all tragedy. You want to add in a few nice things. Is that what you were
Well, you're a
doing?
born color man, so you've got that. That's
Right.
that's a natural for you.
And then I got let go there because there was like some promotion woman that was thinking I was doing her job, and so she kind of liked art and that whole thing, and I got dumped out there. And then I thought depression set in. It was right when the movie Stripes was out, and that was it. There was no new gig
Stripes?
to go to.
Razzle dazzle.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I got a call and started doing like sock hops for high schools, doing that out of my house. It's right when my daughter was born, so I got my daughter. I'm sitting there, I'm doing this job, and then the KLAC guys called me up and said that somebody wanted to do country music at the Marina Del Rey Marriott. So that started me in my own company, Bighorn Productions, and I brought DJs in, and we used to play music, and then we automated it and played more music. And then after I made these automation systems, 2 tape decks, and they'd play a couple of songs, and a cartridge would say, "Go buy a beer, it's only $1." Some guy in Canada bought them, and I made 2 more because I thought I was making it rich. That's it, we're rich. And nobody else bought any more. So I strapped those 2 things together after reading a story about a guy that put KMET radio on his cable system in Phoenix, and it showed up with a 7 share, and I thought, I'm going to make my own radio station and run it on cable. So I went up to the local cable company, convinced the guy to hook up from our little offices a 2-way line from our office to his head end, and we started playing country music, and people called in and listened. And that's how CRN started. It was all country music at first, then oldies, and then talk.
And you were the first cable radio show.
Yes, first audio on cable. And I used to get agency buys from like TV stations like Channel 4, Channel 11, whatever, because I said, hey, people get cable, they got all these choices, and you want them to tune into your station that's over the air, so why not go ahead and do a special spot commercial that tells them to tune into your stations? They said, well, that makes sense, and they used to buy advertising from us.
Now, what year was that?
That was early 80s, 82, 83. We started about 83.
My gosh.
I used to walk up and
Congratulations.
down Sunland Boulevard and pick up the dry cleaners and everything because it was only heard in Sunland. And then we expanded it to other cable systems. And then we got it up on satellite, and then it became national.
Now, how many cable channels were there at that point? I mean, obviously that was back in the day in 82, 83.
There were 3.
There were, I was going to say, this wasn't like it was ABC, NBC, ABC. This, come on.
I remember the first cable system had the over-the-air channels because it was a tough area to get reception, and you had a box that would click it from on TV to the regular channels 2, 13, and then later it was HBO. You could click it and get HBO or channels 2 through 13, and then ESPN came in and MTV, and probably about 30 channels.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And so you were doing programming 24 hours a day?
Oh, yeah.
You started that right? Did you start that from the get-go?
Yeah, 2 reel changes a day. We have to come in and change the reels, re-rack them up, and then automated it would play music, and we'd play commercials and do weather reports and that sort of thing.
An impressive thing, Mr. Horn. Well, folks, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Michael Horn, who's the president and founder of CRN Digital Talk Radio, and we'll be back in just a minute with more Slow Living Radio. Stay with us.
Located just 30 minutes from Los